A few years ago, I attended a workshop, and it was a couple weeks. And when I say a few years ago, maybe 15 years ago, and the workshop was absolutely fantastic. It was run by Paul Toby and his wife Nancy Houle, and they did a great job. What the workshop was on was basically search engine optimization, internet presence, that sort of stuff, and it was tremendous. I would say that basically somebody taking an AI course today, this would have been the equivalent for internet and SEO type stuff back when it was new. And Paul and Nancy were two of the only people that I knew at the time were really talking about SEO and how to get found and how to have that online presence. So the workshop was great. My assistant Jamie and I went. We spent the week. We really dove in and treated the workshop like it was like we were back in school, and it was very important that we went through this and we finished. And this is where I'm going with the story. We finished that workshop, and they said, "Okay, great, there you go." And everybody's excited. Everybody in the room is excited. Everybody knew that SEO was important. Everyone came away knowing sort of the game plan that they wanted to go, but there wasn't a single person in that room that was a web designer. So obviously, I stick my hand up and I'm like, okay, so who do you recommend to build out the website or the landing page or whatever it was at the time? Who do I talk to next to actually do this? Someone has already taken this course, so that they understand exactly what you're teaching, that I can have a dialogue with them and move forward. And he's like, "Oh, we don't do that. We don't have anybody that we would recommend. It's you're supposed to do this now." So I walked away from that. And I went out and I bought, I think, Dreamweaver software. We were going to design our own webpage, and it never got done. So I want to assure people, and I've been saying this since then, anything that I would ever recommend or talk about or put forward as an idea of stuff that I think people should be doing, I've never just said, "Hey, this is what you need to do." It's always been, okay, great. Next steps. Let's lay out what you need to do next. And here is the architects that we recommend to design it. Here's the energy efficiency company to talk you through exactly what mechanicals you're going to need inside the building, what type of insulation you're going to require. Here's a rental property specialist that's going to talk about floor systems and noise transfer and all these different things that most people, when they get to actually building out rental properties, they don't take into consideration that the biggest headaches the landlord's going to have, hopefully, is the fact that neighbor to neighbor, up or down or side to side, that there's noise transfer and you don't want those phone calls. So what do you do to alleviate that and move forward properly? So all these different things we're going to walk people through, and then Kingwell Fine Homes, consider that your quarterback for all of it. We come in and we're going to walk people through from start to finish. Here's what this is going to look like. We've done this, so we know who to deal with. We know how to get it done. We know, where to apply in terms of the mortgage finance. We know what to do by way of all these different pieces that people are going to require if they're looking to build multifamily, even a triplex, right? What is it going to look like? And, we're going to also get help with the math to say, hey, this makes sense or it doesn't. one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is, we will walk that path first, and then we just help people follow in our footsteps. So it's here's some of the mistakes that we made early on. Here's a couple things that we didn't account for. Randy and I were talking the other day. One of the things that really stung us, that cost us both time and money, was the one lot that we had purchased and we had built out. We didn't budget for shoring, and just the way the building was situated, and when we were digging the foundation, we didn't realize just how close in proximity the building footprint was going to be to the adjacent lot. And shoring was required simply because, as they started to excavate, they didn't want the neighboring building to come into the hole. So again, that was very costly, and not only was it costly, it cost us several months because we had to book the shoring company. They had to fit us into their schedule. They had to come do it, and then the backlog that caused with all the other trades, it just was a spiraling effect that was like, okay, so this may have only pushed it back a couple months, but then you incorporate into that hey, now your painter's not available, or your drywall, or your framer, or whomever, all these different things. It just compounds, and the dominoes just keep tipping over. So again, we're going to walk people through how to avoid stuff like that. And, so when we have that conversation, it's not, hey, we're going to fill your head full of ideas and then just release you into the wild to do it on your own. No, we're going to be there to help people through. Do we charge for that? Yes. So Kingwell Fine Homes is a cost plus builder. And what that means is, whatever the hard cost of the construction is, we add a percentage onto that. What we like to think is that with the economies of scale that we bring to the table, as well as the relationships that we've built with different suppliers and tradespeople, if you were to do this on your own, and we're trying to compare apples to apples, if you were to do this on your own, and whatever the cost was, it's going to be 20% or more than it would be with us. So effectively, any cost that we add, any percentage that we add, is going to be free. There's still a line item on the financials at the end of the day, but ultimately, if you were to do it yourself and do it with us, it's going to be for free. Plus, you get all of our insight, know-how, and that sort of stuff. The other thing, and I mentioned it in one of the stories there, the timeline is key. And the two people on our team that really are magnificent at keeping us on track. We've got a phenomenal project manager. We've got a great site super, and he's actually one of the best in the business. And I'm very prideful in saying that. He's really elevated Kingwell Fine Homes to that next level. But he holds our tradespeople accountable. And once we're shovels in the ground, it's clockwork. I'm knocking wood just because I don't want to jinx ourselves, because we got a couple projects on the go right now. But so when you look at the opportunities that are out there, know that you can quickly elevate your abilities by bringing on the right partners. And I hope that Kingwell Fine Homes is one of those partners that you would consider. Thanks.